Jiva, A Story of Soul and a Way to See It by Gregory Odell. The Path. On the first night, while sleeping in my warm, soft bed, I strayed upon a beautiful fountain bubbling up from a small mound atop a hill in the midday sun. I stood there gazing at the surge of rising, sparkling bubbles, breaching the mound's rim, spilling its crystalline icing over the hilltop sand. Thinking of my friends, I turned and called to them as they sat resting in a hollow out of the sun. They stayed in the shade, not wanting to come. On the next night, while sleeping in my warm, soft bed, I found a second fountain, just as beautiful as the first, and again called to my friends. I could still see my friends squatting with their hats over their eyes, and gave out a yell that echoed back off the canyon run. They stayed in the shade, not wanting to come. On the third night, while sleeping in my warm, soft bed, I scanned my own horizon, realizing what I had been shown. All must walk the path alone. I straightened my stance as loneliness cut to the bone, then walked a trail leading into the evening sun, never looking back to see if my friends had come. Jiva, A Story of Soul and a Way to See It. True illustration of soul is problematic, and many claim that its essence is so profound it renders the description as indescribable. Perhaps this is true. However, it makes good sense to first know what you're looking for, or looking at, and then try to understand how it acts. If we examine only those features that prove to be rationally similar, then it is probable that soul is at least approachable. If soul can be approached, then it is just a matter of getting close enough to view it in order to describe and illustrate what it looks like. The best approach will prove to be an established path. Once in view, further interrogation of the mysteries of soul and its purpose can be left to the individual to explore on their own. First, we will lay a solid foundation for our thoughts, see what soul actually looks like, and then its essence must logically follow. Youth or old age is a needless concern. The trek into consciousness will be as safe as exploring our own backyard, nor should the deep thinkers of our troop account the trip to soul to be nothing of value, for there is something actually to be seen. Nevertheless, we must move forward with those who are willing and say goodbye to those who are not interested. The campground fundamentalist can wait until our return, when it is safe to believe there is something outside the tent village. Before we begin our journey, proper preparations must be made, or common ground must be established, and those unwilling or unable to travel must be left behind. Just as with any trek into the wilderness, it would be unwise to force an unwilling person to go along with us, especially if they believe that the wilderness stops at the edge of the campsite. So it is to force someone to believe there is something called soul and a way to see it. Be assured that the only leap of faith required for our trip is to recognize our park guide as a person of skill. Nothing beyond the direction, length, and expectation of what is to be seen will be required of our hired hand. We need not burden her with complex questions of reality, or force upon her our religious viewpoints, because after all, she's just showing the way. What about the children at the campground? Certainly there are children here, and naturally they believe there is a wilderness to explore, because they know we are preparing to go there. There is little difference between a child's view and that of a typical campground fundamentalist, except the child is activating the potential that a wilderness is beyond the campsite. Not by blind faith, but by experience, the child will prove a forest beyond the trees. First, the guide urges the group around the campfire and states something like this.
As understanding propels us to the center of truth, we gain unfathomable momentum, easily overcoming the speed of light. We quickly penetrate the etheric sheath of time with eternity, bursting with a big bang of uniform sign and stillness, as we awake to a quiet world with the horizon stretching into the formless purity of form.